Hello and welcome to Major Squad. I am Anshul and with me is Major Manik M. Jolly, a decorated veteran who has served with the Gorkha Rifles and the military intelligence. Welcome to our inaugural podcast, Major. This sounds really exciting. We in fact have a name for this podcast and we plan to call it the Squadcast.
That's a very interesting name, Anshul. And thanks for the welcome. I'm very happy to start our series of podcasts today. The aim of starting these was to just simplify the information for everyone and keep the facts and fiction separate. What I feel is that we all should be able to provide a clinical and honest analysis as analysts of the situations and topics we cover.
Absolutely. But first things first, with a red hot line of actual control, everyone is curious about what is happening in Pangong So, or rather the southern bank of Pangong So. What are your thoughts, sir?
So as we know, Indian Army has established itself on some new heights in South Pangong area. And to be precise, we've captured heights to secure the Spangor gap there. Gaps are technically the most important tactical and strategic areas in the mountains. I mean, to have the control of any gap means you can move your armies, both foot and mechanized, through the mountain range and enter the enemy area. And this gap is around 10-12 kilometers away from the Indian Army base and advanced landing ground in Chushul. So one cannot even begin to start with the importance of this gap, which by the way also allows the mechanized forces to roll through because it's almost 1.5 kilometers wide and very flat. So we have to take a moment here to actually applaud the efforts by Indian Army, which were not only very timely, but very precise. Had we not acted on time, I mean, Chinese were coming ahead and they would have surely taken these heights. And then there would be a huge outcry in India itself that we lost land. So the problem is also that we are not only fighting a military war, but there's a perception war also on, where we have to continuously keep convincing some sections of society and media which land is ours. Had we lost it today, it would have, become Indian land. And now we have control. Some people are claiming that we are inside. So the government has to tread a very diplomatic and military balance action here and move very slow and steady.
Exactly, sir. The Indian Army has gone ahead and captured the most dominating features in the area. Some of these are like Helmet Top, Black Top, Ridges, and the Wrekin Pass. Are we not witnessing the classic rules of mountain warfare at play? Domination of the highest features and ridges?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. This timely occupation of heights saves us a lot of hard work in future. In some way, if one was to compare it with Siachen, had we not occupied that on time, and Pakistan would have, we would have held to pay just to evict them. In mountains, generally, the attack ratio is 1-9. It means you need 9 people to fight one guy on top and defeat him. And in this terrain, as we saw in Kargil also, this ratio could easily go up to 1-12, 1-15. So, you can imagine the effort we would have to put in just to evacuate Chinese from their well-entrenched locations on these heights. Anybody who takes the top makes very good defenses, status quo. This is excellent example of a well-coordinated electronic and human surveillance setup that gave adequate early warning and we reacted in the best possible manner. Chinese take India as a reactionary force, but this is probably the first time that we have been very proactive and taken a step to defend our land. Some may call it offensive, but technically it is a defensive operation of setting up new locations. We have just gone there and set up our defenses. And this would definitely boost militaries as well as national morale immensely.
Okay, so could you give me a little more military perspective about this deployment?
Yeah, sure. I mean, you see, as I said, these heights are meant to have control on Sangur Gap, from where the Chinese army would try and roll in. But by dominating these heights, we have made it nearly impossible for them. Terrain is the most critical aspect here. You know very well that right from Chanakya to Sun Tzu to Clausewitz to Rommel, Montgomery, even modern generals, everybody has acknowledged the terrain is the major factor in outcome of any military face-off or war or battle. And we have achieved that by taking the key heights in the area. By doing so, we have achieved the control over the battlefield, where one can direct and choke the enemy within the well-laid defenses. It's a very good tactics. You can dominate the area in two ways: observation and fire. I mean, if one is missing, the pass or even the obstacle is useless to us. If you cannot fire, but you can only see, no point. But if you have all the fire, but no visibility, again, useless. So here we have a excellent example where we have clear line of sight far into the gap, not only to see, but to fire all kinds of weapons. And in the gap, we have successfully brought our mechanized forces also. I mean, Battle of Zazila Pass proved that tanks are very effective, for fighting in mountains too. So we have tanks and infantry fighting vehicles on the ground. We have infantry and special forces holding heights, assisted by our intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance assets, which we also call ISR, in ground as well, I'm sure, in air. We are well prepared to face any eventuality. And the clear field of view is available for all the weapons we have at disposal. And if this was not enough, I mean, I have a lot of faith in artillery, which we call the gods of war. They have our back from all possible locations. This was a very smart military move by the Indian Army and the government. And I'd really like to call it dominate to consolidate. Very proud of them.
Indeed, sir. I also share the feelings. Chushul actually saw the legendary last stand of C Company of the 13th Kumaon Regiment in 1962. It is of immense strategic value as far as the defense of Ladakh region is concerned. The main approaches which the Chinese could use for an offensive into Ladakh and towards Leh lie in Chushul. Now that we have gained tactical advantage, where do we go from here?
So that's a very strategic question. I mean, in tactics and strategy, you are as intelligent as me. We all can make intelligent guesses. India is a country which does not believe in aggression. We have such heavy military stance in North because of our aggressive neighbors. But I'm sure if Chinese decide to back off, I think so will we. Government would decide like that. There is no need to occupy these heights then, especially in winters or even further on. But if they don't, then one thing is sure, that Indian soldiers do not shy away from confrontation if it comes to that. We will continue sitting eyeball to eyeball as long as it takes. And maybe this deployment becomes a new normal. Yes, it will be a lot of expenditure because new infrastructure has to be bought, new bases will have to be built. But then 35 years ago, I mean, there was no such infrastructure on LOC with Pakistan also. But now we are deployed all along the LOC. So our actions will be determined strictly by the short-term and the long-term threat assessment of the LOC with China.
Okay. I believe that we are in for the long haul and we are witnessing what you can call the CHNization of key areas along the line of actual control. I hope we had more time to discuss this, but that brings us to the end of our squadcast. Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot to you also, Anshul, and to all our listeners. We hope to make this a regular feature, covering one topic in a short period of time every week. Please let us know your suggestions or if you want anything to be covered on the Twitter handle called Major Squad. Catch you all on next weekend again. Thanks and Jai Hind.
Thank you all for listening in. Goodbye and Jai Hind.